Chelsea's fire sale summer transfer window is well and truly underway, with an impressive number of outgoings. But for a team that had contracted over 40 players, this sadly comes by as a surprise. Now, while the midfield may need reinforcements after the sale of key individuals, in this video, we are taking a look at a position where more tough decisions await. There are currently 4 players competing for 2 available slots in the squad. Ben Chilwell is thought to be the number 1 going into the season, with Marco Correa, Ian Madsen, and Academy Player of the Season Lewis Hall competing for a spot. Ben Chilwell's best attribute is his attacking qualities. During build-up, his starting position is high and wide. This does 2 things. It stretches the opposition's defense, allowing teammates room in the half spaces, and secondly, it allows him to be an outlet when teams press the ball on the opposite side of the pitch. This positioning means that he receives a lot of progressive passes from his teammates as they advance in attack. This also allows him to be a constant threat from crosses, as the timing of his run into the box is immaculate. He is able to ghost in and have a jumping start on the opposing defender, combined with his ability in the air, and you can see why he is such a goal threat. He has a high volume of crosses, as he combines well with teammates to create space for crosses. Set pieces are another way in which he creates for teammates. His inability to beat players in 1v1 situations mean he can easily be neutralized as an attacking threat and forced to go sideways or backwards with his passing, especially against teams who deploy the low block. His position at certain times may need refining, and this goes back to his time playing as a left wing back. In this system, he was tasked with providing the width, as the players starting in advanced areas were more of inside forwards, who primarily occupied the half spaces. For the types of wingers that Chelsea have, the likes of Mudryk, Sterling to a lesser extent, thrive as touchline wingers who want to receive the ball in the same areas as Chilwell. This forces them inside where they are less effective. This leaves a massive gap in defense in case of turnover in possession, especially with no extra center half or defensive midfield that provide cover. A tactical tweak could remedy the situation and prevent positional clashes with wide players. We know Mauricio Pochettino likes to set up his system with inverted wingers and fullbacks providing the width. Whether he uses this setup, especially with the type of players at his disposal, is yet to be seen. Chilwell prefers to narrow his positioning defensively, keeping him close to the centre-back, cutting off any angles for runs or passes in the half spaces, forcing the ball outside to the less dangerous zones. His positioning defensively is not perfect. He leaves the attacker with too much room to cross and too much distance for him to cover in order to prevent a cross from coming in. His lack of aggression in defending transition means that he always tries to recover his position rather than put in a tackle to win the ball. And while this is sensible in some occasions, it epitomizes the lack of defensive ability. Compare his numbers with someone like Lewis Hall and there is a massive gap. And maybe his numbers are skewed by playing high up the pitch as a wingback. Even so, someone like Pedro Porro, who had a poor season after signing in January, has better tackling stats. This lack of aggression gives the opponent time to make up their mind or wait for reinforcements and sustain the attack, keeping the defense under pressure. His passing does raise suspicion in the build-up phase, especially when faced with high-pressing teams. And while this may not be entirely down to him, in the sense that the whole team suffered from a lack of direction when on the ball and lacked any passing patterns, his lack of composure when under pressure led to countless loss of possession. Whether he was caught dawdling on the ball for too long or trying to force a long ball down the line, my biggest concerns on Chilwell are his injury issues, which are well documented, and his defensive weaknesses. Whether or not he keeps his starting place throughout the season is a wait-and-see game.